Hello everyone, welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 video. We're going to discuss 8th edition again. We've seen a little bit more from what the plans are now, so we're going to have a look at the stat lines and the weapon profiles. So I'll go through them, what we know for facts, and then I'll make some opinions on it and let you know how I think it's going to play, and use a bit of my experience and knowledge to try and extrapolate extra information. So we have the basic run through progression of a Space Marine. Well, I say basic, when we get to Reboot we'll jump ahead a little bit in the progression line. But we have a tactical squad, so they have a movement value of 6 inches. They have a weapon skill of 3+, a ballistic skill of 3+, a strength and toughness of 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership of 7, and a 3+ saving throw. So what's different here? We've added in the movement characteristic, so that's obviously been talked about already. The fact that we're having varying movements and speeds for units. We've also lost the initiative characteristic. There was mention that charging units are going to strike first in combat, so that adds in a good dynamic for how that can work. We also have obviously lost the fixed value for weapon skill and ballistic skill and replaced it with a dice roll required, which in fairness isn't really a big change. I think I explained it on one of my Shadow War Armageddon videos, but basically the rule of 7, if you subtracted the old ballistic skill from 7, you ended up with this number anyway. So a ballistic skill of 4 minus 7 is 3+, blah blah blah. And then the weapon skill is interesting because obviously it's taking away opposed weapon skill checks. So that's going to be a little bit of a change. You're just going to hit things really well or not. It's not going to matter what you're fighting. Then we have the strength and toughness, obviously the same, apart from the fact that they've said we're not capping strength at 10 anymore. So that's going to be really interesting. You'd assume that the chart isn't going to be the big grid anymore. It should have a differentiation. So if you're 1 above, it's 3+. If it's 2 above, it's 2+, blah, 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 all the way through. So that'll be pretty interesting. Wounds, again, for Space Marines today is the same. Still 1 attack. Leadership goes down to 7, which would lead me to believe that they're going to change the way leadership works to be more in line with Battle Shock from Age of Sigmar. So it's going to be based on a 1d6 with casualties and stuff like that. So that's how I would expect leadership to work. And then obviously the 3+ save is still power armor, but we do have saving throw modifiers, which we'll talk to when we get to weapons. Then we look at Terminators. So they are an inch slower than normal Marines. They have the same stat line up until the wounds characteristic, where we have 2, and the attacks, where we also have 2. They've got leadership 8, and they do have a 2-up save. So lots of different things there. The save's going to be pretty impressive. The multiple wounds is good. It makes them more survivable against white fire. They're still pretty quick at a speed of 5. Obviously it's going to be all relative to what other things movements are. Then we have some big changes. The change that we talked to about vehicles. So they're going to do away with armor values and replace them with just static toughness and wounds. So Dreadnought is movement 6, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength of 6, toughness of 7, 8 wounds. It has 4 attacks, a leadership of 8, and a 3+ save. So from looking at this, it kind of gives you an idea of where they might go with some of the other vehicles. So for example, for a Rhino, it wouldn't surprise me if the toughness value of a Rhino becomes something like 6 with 4 to 5 wounds. That would lead it into, as we cover las cannons later, they'll still be one-shottable, but maybe not necessarily really easy to blow up. So that's going to be interesting. And yeah, then we get to the man himself, the myth, the legend, Rebute Gulliman. He is movement 8, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 6, toughness 7. He is practically a dreadnought anyway in the armor of fate. Come on, we all know it. He has 9 wounds, 6 attacks, a leadership of 10, and a 2-up save. So this is going to be like the monstrous creature type stat line. He's pretty good. 2s for everything, strength 6, toughness 6, 9 wounds. He's going to be pretty survivable. You're going to be looking at least 3 wounding las cannon shots to bring him down. So yeah, Primarchs are good. Then we come into the weapons. So we have lost templates. As the Flamer goes to show, it is Assault D6. It has a strength of 4, an AP value of 0, and a damage of 1. This weapon hits automatically. So you'll basically, in an 8-inch range, you'll roll your D6 and apply that many hits to a target, whether it is a single model that has been targeted or a squad. The damage of 1 is obviously relevant to a number of wounds, so it will directly correlate. Then we have a bolt gun, which is rapid fire 1, with a strength of 4, a AP of 0, and a damage of 1. So obviously it doesn't quite explain what rapid fire 1 means, but I'd assume that this is going to be the standard, and it'll either be like good old 2nd edition bolt guns, where if you don't fire, you can fire them so if you don't move, you can fire them twice, or more 3rd edition through to whatever, 7th edition, where you get like double shots at half range, that kind of thing. Then we have the las cannon with its strength of 9, armor piercing value of -3, and a damage of d6. So if we start comparing this to a dreadnought, you're going to be wounding it on a 2+, probably, unless the wound table changes drastically. It's going to have a -3 to its 3-up armor save, so 3, 4, 5, 6. So it can still save on a 6. And then we get the d6 wounds. It has 8, so you can't kill a dreadnought with 1 shot from a las cannon anymore. So it's a buff to dreadnoughts. Iron Hands players will be delighted, as will as bearded Space Wolf players who just take Venerable 1. But yeah, dreadnoughts seem to have gotten more survivable, but you do have the throw off where every hit will still damage them, so the decrease in hull points is kind of still there. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I really like that change, that everything's just going to be cleaned up and have a wound value now and a toughness, rather than having those 2 conflicting stats. It just cleans up the rules, and it's all going to be part of this condensing it into a single document. It's going to be free to get your hands on, and it's not necessarily dumbing the game down. It's just getting rid of needless rules, which I'm all for. Simplicity, making it easier to teach new people the game, making it less scary, I suppose, like less intimidating to start. I think that's a good thing as well. So definitely excited about this. There's going to be some more news coming, I'm sure, and I'll try and stay on top of it. But thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.